Hello everyone. Welcome back to our chapter on industries. In part 1, we learned the basics like manufacturing, value addition, and classification of industries. Now in part 2, we are going to explore something even more exciting. Industrial regions, industrial disasters, and the iron and steel industry, which is one of the most important industries in the world. So let's begin. Before we start, let's quickly see what we will learn today. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to locate major industrial regions in the world and India. Understand industrial disasters and safety measures. Identify major industries of the world. Learn about the iron and steel industry in detail. Study examples like Jamshedpur in India and Pittsburgh in the USA. And also learn about the famous Great Lakes. So yes, today's lesson is like an industrial journey across the world. Now let's start with a quick activity. Look around your classroom carefully. Can you name any 3 things that may be made using steel? Maybe your bench, door handles, window grills, or even the fans. Great! This shows us one important point. Steel is everywhere in our daily life. And that takes us to the next topic. Now let's zoom out and look at the world map. Some places in the world have a large number of industries, and these areas are called industrial regions. Major industrial regions of the world include Eastern North America, Western and Central Europe, Eastern Europe, Eastern Asia. These regions became industrial centers because they had good resources, transport, and markets. Now, if the world has industrial regions, India also has many. Let's see them. Now let's come back to our country, India. India also has many major industrial regions such as Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Tamil Nadu, Hooghly, Ahmedabad, Baroda, Nagpur Belt, Vishakhapatnam, Guntur, Gurgaon, Delhi, Meerut, Kollam, Tiruvananthapuram. Each region developed industries because of raw materials, workers, transport, and market. Now, while industries are important, sometimes they also create dangers. So next, we will learn about industrial disasters. Industries help in development, but if safety is ignored, industries can become dangerous. An industrial disaster is a major accident that happens in an industry. These disasters occur mainly due to technical failure, irresponsible handling of hazardous materials. So we must remember, industries must grow, but safety must come first. And one of the most serious industrial disasters in India was. Now we will learn about a real-life example. In 1984, a terrible industrial disaster happened in Bhopal. A poisonous gas called mic leaked from the Union Carbide pesticide factory. Thousands of people died, and many people still suffer from illnesses even today. This incident taught the world a big lesson. Industries must follow strict safety rules. So the next question is, how can we prevent such disasters? To reduce industrial disasters, we must follow some important safety measures. 1. Keep residential areas away from industries. 2. People should know about hazards. 3. Improve fire warning and firefighting systems. 4. Limit toxic storage. 5. Improve pollution dispersion qualities. So we understand one clear message. Development without safety is dangerous. Now that we know the risks, let's go back to learning about industries again. Next, we will look at major industries of the world. Now let's focus on the most important industries in the world. Some major industries are iron and steel, textile, information technology, and one special point is, IT is an emerging industry, which means it is growing rapidly. Now let's see which countries are famous for these industries. Different countries are famous for different industries. Iron and steel, Germany, USA, China, Japan, Russia. Textile, India, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan. IT hubs, Silicon Valley, Central California, and Bangalore region, India. So we can clearly see that industries are spread across the world, but each region has its own speciality. Now among all these industries, one industry is called the mother of all industries. That is the iron and steel industry. The iron and steel industry is called a feeder industry. Do you know why? Because it supplies steel to many other industries like cars, machines, buildings, trains, and tools. Now let's understand the main parts. Inputs: iron ore, coal, limestone, labor, and capital. Process: smelting in a blast furnace and then refining. Output, steel. So raw materials go in, processing happens, and steel comes out. Now you might be thinking, why is steel so important? Let's see. Steel is called the backbone of modern industry because steel is used in ships, trains, trucks, autos, tools, machinery, pipelines, buildings. So without steel, modern life would almost stop. No big buildings, no trains, no machines. Now that steel is so important, the next question is, where do iron and steel industries get located? And has this location changed over time? Let's understand that next. The location of iron and steel industries has changed with time. Before 1800, industries were near raw materials, power, and running water. 1800 to 1950, industries shifted near coal fields, canals, and railways. Since 1950, industries are built on flat land near seaports because imports became easier. So earlier industries depended on local materials, but now transport and ports have become very important. Now let's see where India has major iron and steel centers. India has many major iron and steel centers. Some important ones are Bhilai, Durgapur, Burnpur, Jamshedpur, Rourkela, Bokaro, and some other centers include Bhadravati, Vijayanagar, Visakhapatnam, Salem. These centers are located where raw materials, labor, and transport are available. Now the steel industry in India is not just one type. There are different forms of production. Let's learn them. The Indian steel industry includes a large integrated steel plants, a mini steel mills, a secondary producers, rolling mills, and ancillary industries. Large plants produce steel from raw materials. Mini mills produce steel in smaller quantities. Rolling mills and secondary producers help in shaping steel into useful products. Now let's take one famous Indian example of steel industry, Jamshedpur. Now let's learn about Jamshedpur, one of India's most famous steel centers. TISCO started in 1907 at Saki, which later became Jamshedpur. It was located here because it was close to the railway line and Kolkata market. Water was available from the Subarnarekha and Karkai rivers. Raw materials came from nearby regions. So Jamshedpur became a perfect location for a steel plant. Now let's compare this with a world example, Pittsburgh in the USA. Now let's travel to the USA. Pittsburgh is a famous iron and steel center. It developed because a coal was available locally. Iron ore came from Minnesota, about 1,500 kilometers away. A Great Lakes waterway helped in cheap transport. Rivers provided water supply. So Pittsburgh also had the perfect combination of resources and transport. Now one important thing mentioned here is the Great Lakes. So let's quickly learn about them. Here's a fun fact time. The Great Lakes are Superior, Huron, Ontario, Michigan, Erie, and the largest one is Lake Superior. These lakes are very important because they provide water transport, which is cheap and helpful for heavy industries like iron and steel. Now we have reached the final slide, our quick revision check. Great job, everyone. Now before we end, let's check what you understood today. Answer quickly. 1. Name any 2 industrial regions in India. 2. What caused industrial disasters? 3. Why is steel called the backbone of modern industry? Write your answers in the comment box. So today we learned major industrial regions of the world in India, industrial disasters and safety measures, major industries of the world, iron and steel industry and why it is a feeder industry, steel as the backbone of modern industry. Examples: Jamshedpur in India and Pittsburgh in the USA, and also the Great Lakes. Wonderful learning today. Thank you and see you in the next class.